evening and welcome to A Gypsy's Kiss. It's Friday Fenndango and I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Younis. Thanks for joining us tonight. We've got some emails to read. We've got some voicemails. We've got some text messages. But we're going to get to open lines early because I know you guys have just a ton to talk about. And we're ready for you, baby. We're ready for you. High five.
Ta-da!
You know what? Talk to me. I didn't check your audio before.
Ta-da!
So, okay, that's still a little hot.
Hello.
Hey, Miss Shelley, how are you doing?
Well, I've been here all day. You should know by now.
So this is our fourth show. So today we will have done 5 hours worth of live streaming on 3 different channels. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew.
Super de duper.
So we got a bunch of emails, some of which are pretty dang good, and some we've got another set of emails coming in from a gentleman who was asking me about a report on KOAT, and I'm trying to figure out if KOAT. Let me see. This is why I told you about it today, but I don't have to dig it up today. Okay, so evidently. KOAT, Albuquerque, Channel 7, picked up the story that we talked about on my live stream, that quick live stream that I did yesterday about Reynaldo Vasquez. And so now they've turned it into a story, and there was a comment about Fenn refuses to dig up the treasure, something like that. So here's my advice to you. If a journalist says it, and you didn't hear Fenn say it, or you didn't see the words Fenn wrote, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
right?
People paraphrase him all the time. We do it too. Don't believe everything you hear.
But at least we say we're paraphrasing him.
We try to.
We are making
Just assume we are unless we, give you a citation.
Right. Unless we give you the citation. Okay, so the live dashboard is working. Thanks. Okay.
Housekeeping, you want towel?
Do you want some towels?
Towels are good to have.
Towels are good to have according to...
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe.
Universe, yeah. Is it the universe or the galaxy?
Universe, the galaxy. The book was one, and the movie was another.
Before you leave tonight, take a moment and like this video because YouTube likes it when you like our videos. In addition to that, share this video with your family, your friends, your business associates, your entire neighborhood, and the entirety of your social network. That way we can
grow the channel. 5 more.
Where are we?
We're $49.95.
5 away from...
Only $49.95.
$49.95, and we'll hit 5,000 with 5 more. But then we'll lose some, and it'll bounce around 5,000 for...
We're getting close, though.
Yeah,
keep an eye on it this weekend, guys.
We should do it this weekend. And then finally, if you're not already a subscriber...
Do it.
Do it.
You know you want to. Smash the subscribe button.
Subscribe now that way and click on the notifications bell.
Oh, the bell.
And that way when we schedule a live stream or start a live stream, you will be immediately informed and...
In the know.
In the know. And there's nothing better than being in the
know. And
look
at that. DIY Dave has demonstrated
giving us an
doing
example.
It himself, which is what DIY, I'm guessing, is.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. Demonstrated for you how to do a super chat. So in order to do that, you just go to that stylized, grayed out $sign at the bottom of the chat. Click on that, and YouTube will walk you through the process of giving us a little bit of that super chat challenge money, and that will appear in a beautiful box with whatever you choose to write in there.
Enabling us to
grow the channel.
Yeah, I know it doesn't fit, but
super chat.
Super chat.
Grow the paycheck. That's it. Grow the paycheck. Yeah. I mean, come on. How many hours a week are we putting into this?
But it's turning into more and more, actually. So I wanted to say hi. Did you do your Facebook watch time thing? Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
I'm
I want
all
to
over
say
that
hi
thing.
to you folks on the Facebook page. We
Hi,
can see your comments
Facebookers.
here, and we can comment back to you. That's as far as I can see. That's Quinta Joy Aberly.
Zoe says, Shelley is so funny. I wish I could subscribe twice. Well, look
Oh,
at that. You could.
you could
All
just
you got to
use a
do is
different
get
name.
another Gmail account and subscribe again. Works.
YouTube's going to pick up on that. No, like, wait a minute, that's not legal.
Heidi H. Give us another cha-ching. Thank you, Heidi.
Heidi. Who do I know named Heidi? Topic of the evening, Sean. It's open topic night on Friday nights. We'll read emails. You can
The
talk about.
topic is the new video I made to share with all of you. The little short second place video.
Oh, yeah. So I think I'm going to play it just for the heck of it. So, last week we had, was it an afternoon call and an evening call?
Something like that, yeah.
And it was from two gentlemen, both of whom felt like they had missed out on getting the treasure because when they got to the location that they expected the treasure to be, it wasn't there. So
They were in second place.
Shelley had this video made up for those guys. Second place, because you know what they say about what is that? Ricky Bobby. If you didn't finish first, you're last.
Oh,
Ricky Bobby.
is that it?
That's kind of the
I
kind
thought
of thing.
second place, we try harder, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but we have to try harder for the next one. So, yeah. So we've got that one to play now. If we get any
Close
more
only
second players.
counts in.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah. Can you sing Baby Shark for the intro? I don't know. Can we get away with it?
No, every time we do Baby Shark, we get busted for it. I think if we sing it.
That's all we do.
Ready?
Baby shark, da 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 da, baby shark, da 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 da, baby shark, da 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 da, baby shark.
Okay, if we demonetize based on that, who said that? I'm coming back.
Toby Fan 3000.
Toby Fan 3000. Okay.
He's going to have to change. He's going to have to open up a new account so he can be Toby Fan 5000.
Yeah. Toby Fan 5000. We've been 2,000 subscribers together now, Toby Fan. So we want to thank our moderators in the room tonight, Toby Fan 3000, ES, Mitzi. I haven't seen him. Let's see, Film to Moby Dickens Bookstore. How did Forrest choose the location to do a book signing? Oh, can I answer that question before we go on? Because
why are you asking permission?
I don't know. Okay, like everything. Tom K. What is Tom K. doing in the room? I thought that.
Oh my goodness sake.
Okay, so we'll come back to all the questions after we finish voicemails and we say hello to the room. So keep track of all those questions that are being asked. Don't forget, if you want to ask us a question, precede your question with @ sign A space Gypsy space KISS. You need the apostrophe.
Toby Fan
or the
3000
S's.
did it, so
Right.
look at him.
So, and that way we can see it on our screen
The Baby
here.
Shark
If you don't
one.
do that, we just don't see it. It goes right by really quick.
Or you can text it to
Heidi.
866-597-9901.
Or you can text your question to 866-597. The phone lines are not yet open, but you can text it there, or you can call and leave a voicemail. We'll just play your voicemail. So there's lots of ways to reach us, and you can enjoy doing that. Okay, so let me read this one first, because it's...
Are you going to play the email video?
Yeah, I am. This one I'm not going to go through because he never did finish it with the... I think he's got... I think I was clear on what we were trying to do. So let's do some emails. So this one is from Greg Coughlin, who I sometimes confuse with Glenn Coughlin, which could be very offensive. He goes by GL Cannon. So he says, "Hi guys, after Wednesday night, I had to pull out my maps of the Aspen Peak area, and he actually sent me those maps because that area is pretty well mapped out." Toby, you rode these trails in your youth. Actually, I rode the highway, the Hyde Park Road in my youth. I hiked these. Is that a canyon leaking to, I think he meant linking to Aspen Peak. It's down below Aspen Peak, but I wouldn't say that they are linking. It's no more linking than any warm waters near the entrance of said canyon, water high. Nope, not that I recall. Does it look fenny? It's okay. They call it Aspen Peak because it's aspens, and I've always think of Fenn as a ponderosa or lodgepole pine guy rather than a deciduous tree kind of guy. What about Homa Brown? The only thing that in general, the only thing in that general vicinity that might pass for Homa Brown on my map is the U.S. Forest Service facility. Those guys wear brown, don't they? Even so, I can't get over the fact there's not a few campsites scattered around the area. Lots of trails. It's kind of a hiking area. It's always been a hiking area because you've got Lake Catherine up there. You've got Spirit Lake. There's a third lake up there that hikers, it's above the ski basin, and that was kind of a cool place for hikers. That's why there's so many trails. Lots of people, lots of trail, power lines. That doesn't sound funny. Yeah, I would agree. But more importantly, as a matter of fact, I had a voicemail from the same gentleman, and he saw my analysis of how he got to where he was, and he left a voicemail saying, no, that he hiked along the power lines, that it only took him 15 minutes because he hiked along the right-of-way that was made by the power line. So, again, yeah, that didn't sound funny to me either. But more importantly, to get to the area your guest caller alluded to, Fenn would have had to park in the circle drive of the Santa Fe Ski Basin parking lot, and walk the rest of the way, correct. Looking at the mileage on the attached map, it's over 2 miles one way. That means 8 miles minimum on that afternoon hike for Fenn. I don't buy it too far. In my mind, the chest is less than 1 mile from Homa Brown and probably closer to 1/2 mile. Yes, we agree. He says, your thoughts. We agree with you. We don't think the chest is there, and our caller, of course, would agree with this because he believes that somebody got to the chest before he did. By the way, we did our 4 o'clock show on the new channel, and we had a total of 7, but it was fun. We got to talk about stuff.
Yeah, and we had this cool new background, so you guys should go there just to check that out.
Yeah, go look at the video and see our cool new background because it's
new background.
It's very cool.
And
cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. This is from Stuart Jones. Had a minor setback, was not able to get where I had to go.
When did you send that? Thursday, last night.
Well, hopefully I have resolved the issue, and I see no reason why I can't retrieve the treasure tonight. I'm still wanting Mr. F to know this firsthand. I'm leaving at about, I guess, 8 o'clock to 8:30. And if all is well, then by 1:30 or 2 o'clock, I will have it, and on my way back. This is going to be a historic 2 days, and as far as Mr. Fenn, I'm looking forward to being able to talk with him. Thank you, SJ. Oh, SJ Kent was on our June list.
Roster.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
that must
apparently
be him.
He's delivering. So for all we know, considering the time, I don't know why he was going out at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so late at night.
But SJ apparently may have the chest. Well, I guess we'll have to look and see. Mm-hmm. If not, we'll just play the rooster video for him. Fantastic treasure. Oh, okay. So this is from a gentleman in the UK whose name is John Whitehouse. So John, you're probably asleep by now, but you'll see this tomorrow. So I'm going to read all your emails, and then I'm going to explain to you what to do. So John wrote 4 different emails to us, and he said, Dear Shelley and Toby, I would love to send you both my solve, for I've done it tired, now I'm weak. I would like to go boots on the ground, but I live in the UK and cannot make the trip. I think I could only trust both of you to go alone in there and find the chest and go in peace. Mum's the word. So hear me both and listen good. Your efforts will be worth a sudden withdrew cold turkey. So just take the chest and say no more. Say no more.
Say no more.
Monty Python.
Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your. Say no more. All the best, and he goes by Phoenix-45. And he says, Respondez s'il vous plaît, or SVP. So we don't,
Oui.
we always respond, what?
Oui.
We go, we.
That's my French. Oui.
Dear Toby and Shelley, please could you kindly advise me how I can send you my solve or someone who can be trusted with it? As I said in part 1, I cannot make the trip from the UK, and me solve. Wow, he talks like a Brit. And me solve is driving me nuts. Please, 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 can you help? All the best, Phoenix 45. So, okay, I'll read everything.
Maybe we need to give the solution to Jono, and he can look for it.
Yeah, when he's here.
That way,
good point.
If he finds
Phoenix
it,
45,
they can share it.
I trust Jono with my life because I don't know any better. Jono's never, Jono's a good guy.
Yeah, Brit
Share
Chaser.
it with Jono. He's coming out here, and if they're in the same area. Dear Toby and Shelley, if you find the chest, it will belong to you as the finder, for I have no rights or claim to the treasure. I would give that in writing to anyone like you. You would be the finder and sole owner, not me. P.S. Please do not give my details to anyone. You can only use Phoenix 45 if you want to. All the best to you both from Phoenix 45. So, John, you should know by now we read everything. Dear Toby and Shelley, just had a nice thought. Take the contents, but leave the chest where you found it with a note inside from... Wait a minute. I thought it was our chest if we find it. With a note inside giving the next finder a gift. That would keep the chest... The chase... Oh, how cute. He spells it like a chair. Keep the chase and your show going forward. Welcome to... Fenn's World. P.S. Phoenix 45 is a code that only we would know now in the meaning to. Okay, so I'm going to give John the answer I would give to anybody else. First of all, we get about 3 to 5 emails like this a week asking people asking us if they could send us our solve. We'd go get the treasure, and we'd split it anywhere from you own it all, just give me the glory, to 50-50, to you can have 15% for making the effort, and I'll take the rest. So you got to remember Fenn's rule. Fenn's rule is he who has the gold has the title and owns it. So you're putting a lot of trust in a guy like me. I probably shouldn't have said that, huh? So that's the first thing. The second thing is don't trust anybody, because once they find that gold, their whole perspective on life is going to change. That's the first thing. Secondly, if anybody wants us to go look for that treasure, here's what you're going to have to do first. You're going to have to convince me that treasure is there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you not to send me your entire solution. I'm going to ask you to send me the precise GP to at least 5 decimal points, the precise GPS coordinates for where your warm waters halt and why you selected those warm waters. If you can't send me that, then don't ask me to go look for your treasure, because the answer will be no. I won't go look for your treasure unless you can provide me. You don't have to give me your entire solve. Just provide me those 2 pieces of information, the precise location to 5 to 6 decimals in GPS coordinates of your warm waters halt, where your warm waters halt, and why you chose that place. Okay? So there. I don't know what's going on with Christina Jarrett. She's talking in what looks like gibberish. Hang on, guys. Let me just take care of this, because I don't know what this poor lady is saying. Oh, okay. So ES took care of that. Thank you, ES. So, and the same goes for you, John. John, if you want me to go look for your treasure, give me the precise GPS coordinates of where your warm waters halt and a short sentence, 10 words of less of why you think warm waters halt there. Okay? And then we'll go look, and if it makes any sense, then I'll go look for your treasure.
All right. And the last email for this evening is from
that it?
Ken Blythe. And the title is How Fit Was or Wasn't He? Shelley and Toby, hope all is well. You two watched Forrest Fenn during 2013 or possibly earlier. What is your opinion as to how far you think he could trek at higher elevations through creeks and valleys, hills, etc., when he had the chest, making 2 trips carrying 25 plus pounds, treasure plus water, gear, sandwich, flashlight, etc. When I watch very limited footage of him moving in videos between 2010 and 2013, I struggle to imagine him being able to hike 1.5 miles, just a number, in then out, twice in the same afternoon. Obviously an educated guess, but what do you think would be a reasonable hike for him without too much risk? Other boots on the ground viewers may have opinions based on their own exhausting efforts. Have a great weekend. Ken. P.S. Don't respond with how deep is a hole. Lol.
We have an opinion on the matter.
Yeah. I really don't think he walked that far because it wasn't necessary to walk that far. How far could he have walked at his age in the woods? Well, and keep in mind that in the Rocky Mountains, it rains in the afternoons. So at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you need to be done with whatever you're doing. So he wouldn't want to be out there too long in the day, too late in the day. I don't think he would walk more than a quarter mile each direction.
So 5,280 feet divided by, that's about right. We think under 1,000 feet, certainly under 1,500, and certainly not a mile, because he's got to do the trip 4 times, because he's carrying at least a 20-pound weight on 2 of those times, and he was 80 years old. And one of the questions we got from somebody else today, I can't remember where it was, but he said, how fit was he at 80? He was a fit 80-year-old. I mean, right. He's an ex-Air Force pilot. He was a fit 80-year-old, but he was still 80. And as fit as you can be, you're not a 60-year-old, you're not a 40-year-old, you're an 80-year-old. And I know because I'm 70 now, and I think of myself as fit, but I can't do the things that I did when I was 50 or 40 or 30. Your age stays with you. You know, you're not going to keep up. If you're 70 or 80, you're not going to keep up with a 30 or 40 or 50-year-old. They're going to have to and ask her, because when we go out, I'm the slow person, and it's 2 reasons. Number 1, I'm slow, and 2, I'm cautious. But now I have my new glasses. I got new glasses, some other new glasses, so I'm not going to have to worry about that
as much.
Yeah. So, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay. So, hang on.
And those are our opinions, of course. We don't know. We're just guessing. I'm sure everybody has a different opinion on that. How far could he have walked? How far did he walk? I just think, there's a reason he keeps telling us that don't go where an 80-year-old man couldn't go. He's trying to tell you. He's trying to give you that, hello, don't overdo it. It's not necessary.
Yeah. I think he made the point so often about don't go someplace a 79 or 80-year-old man couldn't go. I think in a way that, while it might not have been a clue, it might have been a hint, just
it's a warning.
But in being a warning, it's
you can take it as a hint.
You can go up there, and if you find yourself like our friend Reynaldo did, walking at X number of feet along a steep scree slope, you have to ask yourself at that point, could this treasure be here? And we've done that. We've been in places, we talk about it being Fenny. Fenny covers a lot of territory, including like, could he have hiked up this hill at this angle on this slope 4 times without putting himself at risk? So,
and I just also think, not only putting himself at risk, but he was alone when he went.
Yeah.
So the last thing he would want is to get hurt and have to ask for help, because he just hit a treasure. He doesn't want anybody to know that.
Yeah.
So it has to be something that he knows without a doubt he can easily do in an afternoon without anybody being around and without any chance of him, getting into any kind of trouble where he would need help.
Voila. All right. You ready to go to the room?
I think so.
Tropical
got sunshine.
Yeah,
on
that's what we're
cloudy
reduced to.
day.
We have to sing our own songs until we get this thing straightened out with
Right.
YouTube. Damn them.
I know.
Okay, I will
know.
follow your lead. Where are you
My
at?
goodness. Eric Schmidt was in the room at 6:05. You know,
6:05.
we had some issues with trying to get Toby to schedule things correctly today.
Yeah, I was
But I
having
thought
trouble.
this one we had scheduled correctly. Alan Kay said he was looking forward to Cluck Norris and Russell Crowe tonight. So I appreciate that humor. I thought that was pretty good.
Sean Martinez was in the room early, not
Yeah.
6:05 certainly, but
Yeah.
was in there.
6:25.
Yeah.
Or no, 6:24.
So Zoe, did you put Zoe back on the
I put
Rooster
Zoe
roster?
on the Rooster roster. I'll read that right after we finish
okay,
saying
all
hello.
right. $2, 2 buckets.
2 buckets prospecting from Tombstone, Arizona. We got Jack, L. Ryder, Jayla G, Heidi H, KT Southwest,
Southern California.
AJ Rainville. Says he's learned he's not the 200-foot searcher and hobbies can be expensive. Good to know.
Oh, yeah. Well, he
I think
was
he
at,
keeps following us.
Yeah,
Did
he's
you learn
watching
what ASMR was? Because you were there too.
AJ Rainville literally has been at
He's been following us all day.
all 4 of our shows today.
And we appreciate it. We have open-minded narcissist. He's an open-minded narcissist.
Did you get the message? Did you get the one from-
Oh. So you do like ASMR. Interesting. Okay. Did I get the message from what? To North? To North. I'm expecting more passion and desire this week, although to be fair, Wednesday gave us plenty of roosters to make up for a lot. Passion, desire, roosters.
Shall we give him some passion and desire somewhere along the line?
Yeah.
I've got the video.
Which video?
You know, our passion and desire video.
No, I don't know which one you're talking about. I'm like, which one is that?
Come on, you're supposed to play along. That was an opening for
Oh, as if we had a naked thing going on.
Not a naked. I didn't say that. I said passion and desire.
What are we being passionate about?
I'm just not going to answer that question now since you didn't go along with it.
Well, I don't even know what you're talking
all right.
about. John Werner's here.
John Werner, one of our moderators, first person says they found the treasure tonight. Banned. Now you're starting to sound like Mitzi. Don't ban him. Let's hear it. It's more fun. Honestly, we'll call him and let's hear the story. I want to hear all those. Heidi says I'm too nice. Thank you, Heidi. That was a very nice thing to say.
We have Journeyman. We have the Sassy. The Sassy said, were you talking about me today?
Yes, we were. We were talking about you and your, on our 1 o'clock show, we were talking about you and your find of the David Blaine treasure. We use you as an example.
All the time.
An example of success and patience.
Be like Sassy.
That's what we be like Sassy.
Mr. G.
Make that hashtag be like Sassy.
Michael Wimmer. Mike.
Toby is low volume. I am bouncing off the red here, John Warner. I can't go much higher because then I'm going to start.
Talons on the ground.
Talons on the ground for the chicken. Do chickens
Rooster.
have talons? Oh, roosters.
Rooster.
No, they have. They don't have talons. Those are like eagles have talons. Roosters have.
That's what Alan said. I thought it was good.
Okay.
Jennifer Norrid. Jen's Eater.
Did you pick up Mount Jam 1971?
No.
So.
I haven't got that far.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Why? What were you
Well, go
saying?
ahead and get to it.
Jen's Easer, Virginia Man, 23 Monarcha, Joel Lewicki,
Hey, Joel Lewicki.
Joe Sheeran. There it is. Mount Jam, 1971. Heads up. Nat Geo is airing a special in Yellowstone Park Sunday through Wednesday.
Yeah, and I think this
Be
is
there.
a rerun. It's on the National Geographic Channel, and it's all about Yellowstone. And I'm sorry, it's not a rerun. It's a return to Yellowstone. And I don't know whether you saw the one. I don't think it was last year. I think it was 2 years ago. They did a great job. But if you want to prepare yourself, if you're planning to go to Yellowstone, I'm going to strongly recommend that you guys keep an eye out for it in the National Geographic channel. 4 hours worth of more Yellowstone, more bears. They said more bears,
Earthquakes.
more earthquakes. Yeah,
I thought I smelled a forest fire this morning, but maybe-
there is.
Did I smell one
It's
this
up
morning?
in Cibola. It said on the weather that we'd be getting some of the smoke up in that's up in the not Cebolla, up near Cebolla. It's north of us, north of Santa Fe.
Okay.
Yeah, But there's also one in Colorado as well, and they were predicting flooding in Colorado this weekend due to the snow melt. Hang on, let me look at my snow warnings here.
All right. We also have Salty Dog, Joe S., Vicky McMillan, Jordan Mays, DIY Dave.
Did you read that one from Heidi?
I don't know. I didn't see one.
She said Toby is too nice. I just wanted to hear it again.
Okay.
Okay, up near Hemis Springs, there's a fire, and that's where we're picking it up from.
Oh.
There's also one in Colorado. Let's see, that one's in around Sanford, and then there's one further west in the Durango area. But they were also predicting flooding due to snowmelt in Colorado, so make sure you check before you go out this weekend.
Yeah. For fires and for flooding and for snow.
And that's, so see that little sign there?
They had a bunch of snow in Colorado.
Oh, oops.
I mean, just like last week or so.
See that little sign right there? That's the sun covered with smoke sign.
Oh, interesting.
So we're going to experience more of it tomorrow.
So we have I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy too.
Davio 22, Tom K, Mr. T. Steve Wayne.
I'm going to see if I can go down and find some questions while you're looking through that.
Evan Penn.
Shelley is so funny. I wish I could subscribe twice.
Yeah.
Well, subscribe to our other channel, The Softer Side, and subscribe to our new channel, It's Not a Restoration.
Did you answer the question about Moby Dickens?
I didn't. What is it?
The one Eric asked, how did Fenn choose the location of Moby Dickens bookstore to do a signing?
So it was actually a combination of things. Jay and Carolyn Moore were trying to build out Moby Dickens in Taos, which is a tough market. And they were trying to, it was they're basically, the local bookstore was right downtown, right near the Plaza Taos. And Jay contacted, what's the woman that runs Collected Works? Dorothy. And asked if he could have some of the books, some of the Thrill of the Chase and Too Far to Walk books. That was during the announcement of Too Far to Walk. So he would buy them from Dorothy and he would sell them in his store. He would buy them at a discount. And I guess they got into a conversation about Fenn going up there to do a book signing. And that's how he ended up at Moby Dickens. So it was kind of a conversation between Jay and Carolyn Moore from Moby Dickens and Dorothy Massey from Collected Works, and then Fenn, and I guess they agreed to it. And if you watch the video, at some point, Fenn thanks Dorothy for driving him up there, and I don't know that I ever got a shot of Jay because Jay was handling the inbound questions. He had put it out on his website and solicited questions from the folks that were on his website. And several of you heard him ask several questions come from that, and Fenn answered them. So it was a Dorothy, Jay, the Moores, and Fenn kind of conglomerate that got him there.
All right. Tom K says, Toby, you have an awesome computer. What kind is it?
It's a Dell Workstation T3600 with a Xeon processor in it.
And two monitors.
Yeah.
That's what makes it look impressive, I think.
Oh, is that what it is? No.
That's what I think.
It's designed to actually support up to 4 different monitors. We don't need the other 2.
Oh, boy.
But yeah,
it would be very confusing.
A Dell Workstation, 32 gigabyte, 8 iCore, not an iCore, but a Core 8 Xeon workstation processor.
Christine Kenzie's here. Denise Bagley.
Said she was going to be here tonight.
She's watching before the fireworks go off, I guess. Second place prize is a set of steak knives. Third place is You're Fired. Evan Penn. It's from Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh.
Mitzi Moore TV. One
of our moderators.
Mitzi? Deep Thinker. Hello.
Mitzi sold her blue wrench on eBay.
Ross B.
Tunarth, did you watch us today? Tunarth says, what? No toaster oven?
It's
He must have been watching our show today.
Maybe he thought that should be a second place prize. Solito is here.
Solito.
And 3D Bronze. RC, a new subscriber. I'm definitely a new subscriber after that tune.
3D Bronze is the guy that was making the bronze pendants out of the clasps from the thing. And he sent one to Susie so she could put it in her treasure chest.
Oh.
How cool is that?
Aaron Hurley.
Christine Jarrett. Hey, why is Bob Burnquist blocked? I don't even know who Bob Burnquist is.
It's the same person. Sassy. Don Davidson, Albatross. I don't know what that means. B. Cross from Texas, Bill. James Bailey. Put me down for June. Going to fly my little plane into the teeth of the Rockies this weekend.
Dang.
Okay, James, you're on the list.
Jennifer Norrid is on the YouTube channel tonight.
Did I say Heather Dawn is here? Patricia Marin. Hola.
Hola, Patricia. How is your stay in Santa Fe? I get all your Instagram photos. It looks like you're having fun. Looks like you're with your family. So we need to hear that whole story someday.
Give me title to the gold. He knows what he wants. Poor boy 5764.
Poor boy or po boy?
Poor boy. Poor boy.
Christine Kenzie, A Gypsy's Kiss. Forrest Fenn should get everyone the piece of the chest. No, Christine, that would spoil it. The owner is the guy that holds the title, and they deserve it. If they ever figure this damn thing out, they deserve the treasure.
23 Monarcha says, I do believe a sick person with the flu could get to the treasure no problem. In other words, it's
not that hard.
Not physically taxing. Andrew Sturmitz. What do you think the best solve is to date?
Well, the correct answer...
They're all wrong unless somebody has the treasure.
Yeah. The correct solve is the one that gets you to the treasure and allows you to make the announcement the following day after proving it with pictures. They're not... There is no... Fenn has said more often than not that you're not going to know you have the correct warm water salt until you're standing over the treasure. So it's an all or nothing at all kind of game. There is no partials. There is no lead searchers. You either have the treasure or you don't. And everybody, to the best of my uncertain knowledge in this room, don't have the treasure. So
we're all in the don't club. Sakar is here.
Sakar.
And I'm not sure how to say this. Do you?
Which one?
It's Asian.
Wabioshin. Wabioshin.
Oh, wave on the ocean.
Wabioshin.
Says, hey guys, you are absolutely correct. I love you guys.
What are we correct about? We love being correct. We don't know which one we're correct about. So,
Christine wants to know, has the clue of 8.25 miles been verified?
That's not a clue. That's additional information, like it's not in Idaho or Utah.
It wasn't verified that Fenn made the original post, but Cynthia has told us that he agrees with it.
Yeah,
the 8.25 miles north.
It's more than 8.25 miles north of Santa Fe. There's a lot of discussion where he's talking about the city limits or from the center of Santa Fe, et cetera, et cetera. It's not going to make any difference. It's in the mountains north of Santa Fe. Don't be looking in Santa Fe.
Ewok.
I
think I said Davi.
So give me title to the goal. Says, my 77-year-old father walks 3 to 4 miles on groomed surfaces every day and plays 18 holes of golf 3 times a week. Don't underestimate old people. I'm an old person. I don't underestimate them. I know what I can do. But there's a big difference walking a golf course at sea level than there is walking in the mountains carrying a 22-pound weight, because I'll bet you he pulls his little cart behind him, carrying a 22-pound weight at 7,000 to 8,000 feet. Big difference. Especially if you don't do it a lot.
Everybody's different.
Fenn had the benefit.
Jack LaLanne could have run up that mountain, but, he was special.
Yeah. Fenn
and
had
then
the
there
benefit.
are people who are in, Toby's age and they're in wheelchairs and they can barely move. So everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Gene, oh no, I'm sorry. Gabe Lands from
Sternworm.
Facebook says anyone who is hiking without some sort of SOS beacon for search and rescue is just being totally irresponsible. He must be one of those search and rescue guys because that's kind of their perspective. Like, try to be more responsible.
We have Sternworm, Aaron Hurley, Tom Sawyer. What? Why? Wave on the ocean. Very close. So, Wei Bozin, or it may be Wai Bozin. Wai Bozin?
I don't know what you're talking. What are you talking about?
The person's name.
Very close. So Wei Boshin, or maybe Wei Boshin. So the Z is always has kind of a soft S sound.
Okay.
It's Chinese. He's Chinese.
Okay.
Wei Boshin.
Okay. Wei.
Wei.
Thanks
you
for
can call
being
him,
here.
Actually, you should call him Jin. Wei is
Okay,
his,
Jin. Sorry.
Jin.
Gabe Lands. If you're out in the sticks, you need an SOS beacon.
So poor boy 5764 says a gypsy's kiss. Well, did they find the treasure chest as the caller Wednesday state? We haven't heard anything else after the calls on either of the calls on Wednesday, except for the guy that was going on Thursday and said he was picking up the treasure last night. We haven't heard from him either.
No.
So you.
But let's play, which one? The rooster or the lead searcher video? Which one should we play?
Gypsy's kiss. Why did Forrest have to rent? Wow. So I can tell by your why question, just by the preceding of a why, you've made an assumption. Your assumption is that Forrest rented a car in New Mexico. That's an assumption. There is no evidence that he did that. There's a comment in the Moby Dickens video about that, but there is no indication that actually happened. And here's why. It would have left a paper trail.
So do you want to play the... Oh.
What am I playing?
Apparently the rooster video.
Rooster video? I'm playing the rooster video for who?
Because we're going to read the rooster roster.
Oh, there we go.
We're right there in your...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any Chanticleers in there?
I thought that last turkey. I thought that last rooster was a...
Chanticleer?
Wasn't it?
I don't know. I'd have
It was
to go
very
back and look.
colorful.
Very colorful.
Anyway, for June, we have a very long list, beginning with Sheila Draper, John Ito, S.J. Kent, who I believe is the one we read the email from, who said he was going to go out and get it last night. Evan Penn, who says he has a big fail on his. Jana, Minnesota, Jeff Anschultz, Christy and Mike. I think they're out this weekend.
This weekend, but they're getting a ton of bad weather.
CMC, Mark Connor, Mitzi Moore. Hey, Mitzi, did you get out? Denise Baker, also known as Drawing Nigh. William Goswick, Treasure Finder, J.A. Street. Rudy Green, I think Rudy said he went out and didn't find it. I think that's what he said Wednesday. Gary Barber, Copper Dan, Mr. T, Cynthia Meacham. She's also up there this weekend at Function. Anonymous Searcher, Beverly Hills Billy, Paladin, and James Bailey. He's going up this weekend in his airplane.
I wonder if Copper Dan's up in... We haven't heard from him in a couple of days. I wonder if he's up at the Function.
Maybe.
Really?
Maybe.
Dave could tell us if he's in the room. So Sassy says, when we were talking about it, except for the part about posting your solve to the internet before you go there, don't be like Sassy. Yeah, that was cute.
We really appreciate that you share your mistakes so that we can learn from them.
Don Davidson says, hello, Toby and Shelley. On 3 out of your 4 shows, not bad. So
today's shows.
Yeah, you're setting records.
Who was on them?
Don Davidson.
Oh, very nice. Thank you guys. We appreciate your loyalty and hanging out with us.
Rick Plank from
Cincinnati.
Yes. Let's see. Comma, which was meant, blah, blah. Jin. All we have to do is call him Jin.
Jin.
Heather Dawn Angel Henrik.
Isn't that the president of China?
Yeah. Yeah, it is president. Is it Jin?
Or am I thinking of Japan?
No, it's not Japan. That's a Chinese name.
Chinese.
Gypsy's Kiss, glad to see you're well, Toby. Are you taking phone calls tonight? Drawing nigh? Yes, we are. As soon as we finish this other stuff that
They call him a president or is he an emperor?
No, he is the president. Well, he's the prime minister.
Prime minister.
They still. Wait. Okay. Are we talking about Japan or China?
China.
China has a president.
Okay.
Japan has a prime minister, and they do have an emperor, but it's more of a
honorary, like the Queen.
It's not honorary. It's what do they call it? Honorary.
Ambassadorial.
No. It's.
What is it?
I'll think of the word. See what happens when you
royalty,
get old. You
like
forget
the Queen.
And they are in
family.
their own form. It is family and it is
Dynasty.
royalty, but it's a
for life.
Yes, for life. Okay, I'm still scrolling down because I saw a couple of the questions.
I'm at the bottom.
Poor boy says, Gypsy's Kiss, glad to see you doing well. So I guess everything went as expected. Unfortunately, it didn't go as expected, but I have to describe to you, this is an outpatient surgery. You're in and out and...
ceremonial?
Ceremonial. That's it. That's the word. So yeah, it isn't, your body swells up around the area, but then it goes down, but it's basically an outpatient surgery. You're awake during the whole thing. It's not like they're cutting deep into you. They're just basically cutting it. Where's Mitzi? Can't talk about this for Mitzi. They're cutting into your.
Jens wants to know what's the topic tonight.
What is this? A thing? We don't have a topic.
We have topics in the afternoon.
Topics are.
If you would like to call about that topic, you may, or you may call about any other topic that you think is related to Forrest Fenn treasure hunting.
Or sprich durch, nicht sprechen durch.
Who's speaking Spanish?
Where do we see Spanish?
Emeritus. That's.
Ich spreche nicht.
That's Latin.
How did the Germans say? Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
I love you.
Depends on if you're in northern Germany or southern Germany.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah. Northerners do that, and the southerners do sh.
It's a lot softer than the Russians. The Russians go, let me see, what? I used to have this memorized in like 20 different languages just in case. Back in the olden days.
Toby must put on his rooster costume for hitting 5,000 subs.
Oh, have we hit him yet? You guys paying attention over there? Let me see.
Guy Ward from Oz. 11:15 a.m. and just starting to warm up after -3 this morning. Oh my goodness, you're being a cold winter there in Australia.
Oh, is that where he's at?
He said Oz.
If they don't lose their hair, how did the term "tooth of the Rockies" come to be attributed to Fenn? Sassy, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know the answer to that question. Jens Esser says, I don't understand the concept of this show. Jens, then go do something productive, for God's sakes. You don't have to hang around for a
The
show.
concept of this show
the concept
is to give everybody a place to come and talk to each other.
Yeah. So, but if you're not getting the concept, damn. Take a breath and turn on the news.
Yo soy
but
el
what differs?
principal
Oh my God,
buscador.
Somebody answered Jen's question. It seems to be concerned about what the show is about. This show is about Shelley and me. That's all it's about. It's just Shelley and me.
Julie Wachholtz says, I am watching and waiting until you are at $49.99, and then I will subscribe. Is there a prize?
And then, yes.
You're not subscribed yet, Julie? You've been here forever. How could you not be subscribed?
You could make your name. What's her last name? What's her name on there? Julie what?
Wachholtz.
Julie, then you can be Toby Fan 5000.
Brad Rhodes, Uno.
Actually, you should be Shelley Fan 5000.
Point V. Yeah, I need a fan. I should have a fan. Toby's got a fan.
Yeah, Shelley should have a fan. So Shelley Fan 5000. Whoever gets number 5,000. Now it's going to be 3 weeks before anybody goes to 5,000 because they're all waiting for her.
The concept is a shoulder to cry on. Says Point B.
Jin works well. Love seeing your show. Thank you.
Tom Sawyer says, Toby, I think you're onto something. Your new channel should be called Toby and Shelley.
Toby and Shelley. That means that
Christine Kenzie is off to see fireworks. Oh, I got some music requests again
nice.
from Heather Dawn.
Oh, yeah, Heather, we're still trying to
At this
make
point
sure
in time, we're only playing music provided for
From-
free for
from-
the creators on YouTube by YouTube to use on their videos. So because they're giving us such a hassle right now, so we don't want to draw outside the lines at this point in time.
because they keep demonetizing our videos,
Yeah.
and we don't like
It's their platform, and we're here
following their
because
rules.
they allow it.
that. So Christine Kenzie
what they
says,
say.
a Gypsy Skis, a searcher mentioned that Forrest Fenn said you can walk to the chest from the Palace of the Governors. True or false? I don't know. I don't know that Fenn ever said that. It's probably true because when you start at the Palace of the Governors, which is on the plaza in Santa Fe, you can walk anywhere if you want to walk that distance, right? He's not telling you anything. I can walk to Alaska from the Palace of the Governors if that's what I want to do. So he's not actually telling you anything. If he
If he
said,
said you could walk there in an hour,
yeah, that would be different. Yeah. Plus, I don't know that was ever attributed to him, but that sounds like the kind of thing Fenn would say, because you'd have to think about it. It's like that lady that asked him, was the blaze facing north, west, south, or east? And he said, I don't think it was any of those. And so people were going up and down. She mentioned 4 of the 360 possibilities, radians. So it's just Fenn probably being funny in his own way,
Brad
Yeah,
Rhodes
you
and
can
Man
walk
in
to
the
it from
Park. Jin says, Toby and Shelley fan 5,000 cha-ching. Michael Wimmer, should we try and solve the whole second stanza together?
Yeah, we should do something, don't you think? If we could do something together, because we can't seem to agree. James Bailey says, what do you make of Fenn's comments about the last clue was going to be his car in the parking lot of the Museum of Denver? It's irrelevant because A, he didn't do it, and B, he wouldn't have done it because it would have still left. He would if he did anything but leave from his home and come back to his home to die, he would have left a trail, not a trailer. He'd have left his
he
trailer.
needed a trailer for that treasure.
Bob Joe would have
It's a
been left
treasure
behind. And then the next thing you know, a tornado would have come up and turned it over. Damn trailer.
And Jen Brown says, what about the clue in the Denver Museum from AGK trip?
Oh, the one in the...
When we went to the
Yeah.
Denver Museum a year
You have to look.
half ago.
So go back to our blog and do a search on photo albums and look at the photo album from the Denver Museum trip. And then
there was a
it
lot
will
of
be
gold in
clear.
that there museum.
There sure was.
Juno Hewitts is here. Jingo Bingo.
Ceremonial AJ Rainville says. So I
Yeah.
just caught up with him.
You're just getting to that. Boy, you're way up there.
Am I?
I'm down at the bottom.
My dog hates roosters, Christine says. Thank you for sharing that, Christine. Thank you for sharing. Toby.
Oh, Dave
topic.
Dave is here in the room. Dave Hedblum, and he says Copper Dan is home.
Oh. Jan Zesser says Toby speaks German well. Thank you.
Ewok says the Nightline video has a hint in it.
Ich liebe dich auch. I like ich liebe dich. Isn't Russian, or is that Flemish? I think
know
Flemish
Russian.
is.
I don't know any Russian.
Oh, I do. So Flemish is ich liebe u. Flemish.
Okay.
Russian is, get this. Okay, so here's a Russian, and they're looking at you, and they go, "No, I'm not going to punch you."
You keep hitting me on the arm.
Russian is,
Hey.
"Ja was lublu."
I love you to death.
I love you to death. Ja was lublu. Arabic is
Michael Wimmer
Hebe-
says maybe where warm water's halt is Olga's bathtub in Santa Fe. That's the new starting point.
Nice. Somebody was just speaking Spanish in the room.
No, Toby's just drinking Diet
Tom
Dr.
Sawyer.
Pepper.
Tom Sawyer says, Gypsy says, don't worry, Toby, it takes a while to get softer ish.
Ish.
But I haven't run into a German. The only time I used this was when I ran into women from from other lands, and it was the only thing they would say, "Do you speak the language?" And I would say, "I love you," in whatever the language was. It was the thing.
I just speak English.
I speak English.
No, we're not drinking any booze tonight.
Oh,
guys.
no! This is caffeine-free Diet Dr. Pepper.
Soda with
that's how
limes.
unboozy it is. Ute.
We didn't get 5,000. We can't be drinking.
It can't be. We have a poster for 5,000.
We're ready.
We've got a special cocktail for 5,000.
Mm-hmm. We're at $49.97, so 3 more to go. Oh, $49.98 says Julie.
Are we?
Julie's,
I have
she's
to refresh
ready.
this. She's keeping it. So come on, if you're not already a subscriber, this would be an ideal time to become the 4,999th subscriber so that Julie can be Toby fan or Shelley fan 5,000.
All right. Je t'aime.
Huh?
Je t'adore.
French. Je t'adore. Yeah.
If I shut the door, it'll get hot in here.
Copper Dan is home, says Dave Headblum. Okay, if I don't shut the door.
Anyway, we're at the bottom. How about text? We get any text?
Yeah, we did get some text. Are we done with the room?
Yeah,
I mean, are we done with the room? Did we?
We're done with it until they come up with something new.
Why am I still on my weather channel?
Because you were looking at the fires.
Oh, that's right. Okay, let's look at text right now. We got text from...
Where's our video?
Area code...
Where's our text video?
Oh, text video. Text video. Why did that scrunch over that way? What happened there? Text video. Text time.
All those neat sounds, kind of like ASMR.
Michael Wimmer says, Gypsy's Kiss, the Santa Fe Trail crosses through Fenn's...
Wait, somebody says we hit 5,000.
What? Did we hit 5,000?
Just get the cowbell out. We hit 5,000.
Hang on. Let me refresh here. Well, what'll happen is we'll get there and somebody else...
Yay! Look at that! Woo! The cowbell!
You're killing him over there.
I know.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for getting us 5,000. What
Where's our
happens
applause?
whenever you hit around now?
Maybe we get a ka-ching, and we get an applause. Woohoo! All right.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
All right. Woohoo!
Another Heidi in the Facebook chat room. Heidi Siegler Deem. Hi from Heidini.
Oh, Julie says, you are at 5,001. I missed it.
Well, is
hang
that your
on,
excuse?
because you know what happens?
We get
Every
to
time
6,000.
we hit one of these goals,
Yeah.
we lose a couple after the show ends. So wait for it. And it'll come
wait
back
for it.
around
And
again.
you'll get 5,000 again. It takes like a day and a half for it to settle down at that number because people go like, well, I'm not going to let him have 5,000. He's got to be 499. So yeah, just come back.
It's always a...
Well, thank you guys. Free rooster for
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have a video to celebrate?
We could do, we could do lead searcher. No.
Or safety squirrel.
Safety squirrel, second place. We're not second place. What could we do?
Crazy birds.
Crazy bird. Yay! We're to 5,000. What cool! And a lot of that, I have to thank Money Magazine because we got really busy after the publication of that article. That's why we decided to do the video on Wednesday for new searchers because we knew we were getting a lot of traffic. So thank you for that, guys. 5,000. That's a nice number.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's see how long it stays that way. Hang on. Let me do that and. So cool.
That was fun that we got it during the middle of the show.
That's kind of
So
neat
we
that
celebrate.
you shared in that experience with us. Okay, did I play the text video?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes,
All
you
right,
did.
keep an eye on because I'm seeing questions come up and just so this is from 72009.
Joe Sharon says, "Congratulations on your way to 10,200."
Like to see
It's
that.
between 5,000 and 10,200.
Anonymous person here, of course, did Fenn say girl, male or female searcher? I don't know the answer to that question.
I think he's talking about what we talked about earlier, this the 200-foot searcher, and he didn't really specify.
Oh, he
gender
never
of any
specified
sort.
gender. He just said he used the plural, them, they, etc., etc.
And that might have been the reason he did it.
Yeah. Yep, he did not specify the gender. Because at the time, there was only one serious searcher that was well known, and that was Stephanie 30acre.
Shiny black wall.
Okay,
Shiny
so-
black wall from Washington, D.C. Greetings.
Okay, we got a couple of voicemails, so let me play them in order. This is from Mike Flanagan. Good Irish name. As a good Irishman. Mr. Flanagan, he is. Okay, here we go. What? Oof.
So Janet Langard says, new article out today on Yahoo Finance from Money Magazine. Mike, K-Pro, and Dan are in it.
A new article. Wow.
Oh. Sweet. Thanks, Janet.
Hey, Toby and Shelley, this is Mike Flanagan from Bozeman, Montana. I was watching your show about the 200-foot searcher, and there is somewhat of a reference to that in the Moby Dickens video about 8.5 minutes in, where he said people had solved the first two clues, and they'd walked right on by, and then he kind of slipped up and said she would have fainted, and then he corrected himself and said they.
Right.
So it's almost a little bit of a clue there that it was a woman. At least one of them was a woman. So I thought that might be interesting if you want to take a look at that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike, for saying that. We think that the she, because he mentioned she was at Collected Works 2 weeks before that, we think the she was Stephanie 30acre, and he uses around 38 minutes into Collected Works. Stephanie asks him the question, who's been closer, me or Dale? And he turns and Michael McGarity repeats the question, and he answers Michael McGarity, and he says something like, she'd faint if I told her that. So we think that's the same person, Stephanie 30acre. Second voicemail from Mike Flanagan.
Hey, Toby and Shelley, it's Mike Flanagan from Bozeman, Montana again. I actually looked up the transcript for that Moby Dickens interview, and he initially did say she'd, and then he corrected himself and said they.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of leads me to believe it's a female, and since he said that he thought she would have fainted had she known, I'm guessing that it's somebody that he must have known to some extent. So kind of interesting. Just food for thought. Thanks.
Again, Michael, if you see this later on, we agree with you, and we think because he used a very similar response at Collected Works, we think that was Stephanie 30acre.
Greg Carter, quote, thousands are searching for Forrest Fenn's treasure in the Rocky Mountains, and many are making serious cash off the hunt, unquote. Yahoo Finance.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, I'm glad we didn't get a mention in that one because
obviously we're not making that much money off
we're
of
not
it.
making that much money. Okay, so this is Candy. Hi, Toby. If somebody wants a searcher, I will make the trip for $15,000 up front. Ha! And she writes, that's what it says. Ha!
Jen's
Candy will do that.
either female, Christy Cow Lasers. No, Christy wasn't in the search at the time that Finn made that comment.
No. Nope. Okay, so we got a voicemail.
Hey, Toby, I was hoping you could call me back tonight. It's kind of time sensitive. So I guess you've got my number. Okay, bye-bye.
Who is this?
It sounded like a woman.
Okay, we'll call her back.
I'd call her back and she'll faint.
Okay, so this one is a text message from the Beverly Hills Billy in Pennsylvania. We know him. Boots on the ground was productive. One major clue solved and more to come. This is so fun and more vast than I ever dreamed. Thank you, Forrest Fenn. The landscape was amazing. I'll share more when I'm content. No walk of shame here. I'll be in touch. TBHB. What is that? Oh, the Beverly Hills Billy. Okay, so let's call. Let's see.
Hey, Toby, I was hoping you could call me back tonight. It's kind of time sensitive. So I guess you've got my number. Okay, bye-bye.
Was that the lady that thought she was the lead searcher because?
I have no idea.
Okay, let's call her back.
I guess it's somebody who's going to faint when we call him back.
All right, let's call him back.
Staples? Why are they? Oh, it's a joke. I get it. Ah.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice
It's going to leave a
messaging
number.
system.
It's going to say a number out loud.
Four,
So
four.
hang it up.
443. Yeah. Okay. Well, you can't say we didn't try if you're going to tell us to call you back. Okay. So that's it for text messages, emails, voicemails. You can still send text messages while we're taking calls, but I'm going to turn on the phone line. So all of you folks that were asking when I was going to turn on the phone line, it's right
No.
now.
I got to
Phone
say it
lines are
first.
open, 866-597-9901. That's 866-597-9901. And we've got almost an hour to talk about these. Now, I'm going to try and limit them to a reasonable amount of time, but I don't like being impolite. I like them to tell their stories. You got to admit, some of them are pretty danged interesting. Let them tell their stories, but when they start getting repetitive, I'll probably ask them to break off the call because it seems like they just want to keep telling the same story again and again. So that's when I get like, oh, we have to do something here. And I know how you guys feel about it. So just let us know how you feel about it in the room. Jens Esser called me. Hey, Jens, if you want me to call you, send a text message to 866-597-9901 and I'll call you back.
And say, oh, please call me and leave your name so we know who's left the message.
Yeah. So phone lines are open. We had a good afternoon this afternoon talking about the 200-foot searcher, who I do not believe, unlike the lead searcher, who I don't believe exists. I believe the 200-foot searcher existed. And Davio says
And there may be
7
more
minutes.
than one of them.
7 minutes. Davio says we're giving you 7 minutes. Somebody keep track of that. Davio, you're responsible for
I could set a timer.
keeping the clock. No, it tells me on the phone.
Well, then
it tells me.
you should know. Why do you need someone else to?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Juno says, congrats on 5,000. I'm 9 minutes behind in buffering.
Let's see if we're still at 5,000. Oopsies.
If you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. Who said that?
Sturmworm.
Sturmworm.
That's the name.
Sturmworm.
I am the 2-foot searcher.
It says a 2-foot searcher.
Because she has 2 feet.
I love.
Get it?
We had to. Hey, 5,002. Dang,
Woohoo.
we're making progress. What is up? With
Yahoo! We should say Yahoo because it was in Yahoo Finance. Yahoo! So apparently Davio really wants us to know this and say it out loud. Band of Gypsies is a live album by Jimi Hendrix and the first without his original group, the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
And it was the last album he made before dying.
And Jin says lead searching is Thrill of the Myth.
Thrill of the Myth, yes.
Myth.
Yeah.
Myth.
I agree with Myth. Put that down, Myth, or we'll arrest you.
Yahoo!
Let's see. Who says? Jan Zesser says, Toby, I am the lead searcher. I know where the chest is. Yeah, Jan, we will play.
And what am I going to say then? if she gets called or you call her? Is it a girl or a guy? Jens.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't even know. It could be a guy or a girl.
No. It sounds like a guy to me. It's like a European guy. Get an egg timer, Jennifer Norred says. Jennifer's in.
So, guys,
YouTube
the phones
too.
are open. If you want to call, the number's right here, 866-597-9901.
Come on. Call. Go ahead. I dare you. Come on. Let's talk about stuff.
Let's talk. No big whoop. Let's talk. We'll have coffee. We'll talk. It's coffee. We'll talk.
Let me see.
No big whoop. Oh, that was from Saturday Night Live back when Michael Myers used to be on there. A gypsy's
So
kiss. Where was the woman searching who was discussing closeness with Fenn back then? She was
she had
everywhere.
been everywhere. And if you, again, go to the Collected Works Bookstore video, and he talks about she had been in Idaho before he said Idaho wasn't an option. Hey, it's Toby and Shelley. You've reached a Gypsy's Kiss. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your comment?
Hi, Toby. This is Bloop calling from all over, like usual.
Yeah, Bloop. That's good.
And I saw your show today earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what's that? I have a hard time hearing right now.
No, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, so I watched your show earlier, and it was about the 200-foot searcher. And I just have a little opinion on that of my own.
Please feel
And
free
it's in
to express
regards
that
to-
opinion.
Yeah, I'll go. Okay, so I looked up the David Blaine treasure, and I saw that it was solved using a fair bit of metadata, of like involving updates, such as Forrest Fenn's update of somebody being within 200 feet.
Mm.
And in my opinion, I just thought, I know this is going to be unpopular, but this is my opinion. So I think that the amount of metadata that you get, the amount of updates, are just not in good taste for the thrill of the chase.
So I
What do you
guess
think about that?
I'm going to have you to ask you your definition of metadata, because to me, I'm going to give you my definition of metadata, and then you can tell me how close I am to understanding what you mean by metadata. So if I have a Word file, and that Word file has text from a recent email that Shelley and I exchanged, underneath that text is a bunch of data that is collected by the various systems along the way, including Word, that tells me more about that file. It tells me its size, it tells me its length, etc., etc. All right? That's how I understand the meaning of the word metadata. Tell me, as it refers to the treasure hunt, especially in the case of the David Blaine treasure hunt, what is metadata that you're referring to? How do you define that for us?
In that case, there were a fair bit of updates about who was searching and where and how close they were. And that is, in my opinion, enough information to where you need less clues to get a full solve. You can triangulate a position from that, knowing certain data points like that. And that's why I don't think it's in good spirit.
So you're talking about additional data over and above what was published in the book. Is that correct?
Correct.
In the case
I feel
of
like it just takes, just for me personally, but it takes a little bit out of the thrill of the chase.
So I'm going to partially agree with you, because I think the two treasure hunts were significantly different from one another. If you look at the approach that Blaine had taken, his expectation was that people would be sharing information about it, and that eventually one of them would be led to the treasure, which is true in the case of Sassy. And Sassy, I'm bringing your name up again because Sassy got into that treasure hunt late and was able to take advantage of what you're calling all the available metadata outside the book, and was able then to was then able to go and find the clues. I'm sorry, the treasure with the last couple of clues, even though she hadn't been in it from the beginning. I don't think the same is true. I think we could spend the rest of our lives, and I think we're doing that honestly, sharing, quote, metadata, unquote, about Fenn's treasure, and it would be a damn bit of help. Because, and I'll give you an example. I don't think it's my fault, but in this treasure hunt, there has been conversation about the New Mexico fishing regulations and how New Mexico fishing regulations define warm waters. And I'm not forcing that, I'm just saying that. That hasn't been helpful.
That's a topic you like to bring up to relate to.
Yeah. So that hasn't helped anyone. It isn't the metadata in this, the information about this. The only benefit that we get from Fenn in terms of the additional data that he provides us is where not to look. Don't look in Idaho. Don't look in Utah. Don't look above 2,200 feet. 10,200 feet. Don't look below 5,000 feet. Don't look on the Rio Grande, et cetera, et cetera. He doesn't tell us where to look. He tells us where not to look. And so I don't know that in the case of, I think metadata, as you called it, in the case of David Blaine, was certainly helpful to all of this, but I can't think of one good example of what you're calling metadata helping get us closer to Fenn's treasure. Because it's all
I just preferred if it stayed that way personally. I just wanted to share my opinion.
Yeah, it will probably. I think you're safe in believing that metadata, if whatever metadata exists in the case of the Fenn treasure, isn't going to get us closer to that treasure.
Yeah, personally for me, I'm not even going to look into it just because it's just my own ideals, involved in finding a treasure.
Yeah.
And I know that David Blaine was set up completely different.
Yeah.
And it was made that way.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying too. I kind of agree with that too. So.
Yeah.
I don't call in and say that and talk about it. That's all I got for you today, Toby.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, Bloop. I appreciate it. You have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Take care. Phone lines are open, but I do have a voicemail.
So apparently Jens was on the chat marathon last Saturday. We missed him.
Oh.
And it's a him, and he is German, but he went to Pepperdine. So,
Pepperdine, very good school.
Was here for education.
Okay, another one from the Beverly Hills Valley. I keep my word, a joke riddle. If a pirate had to name a state quickly, where would he be? I don't know.
A pirate?
We don't know, yeah. Arg. Let's see what we got here.
Booty. I got to think of piratey words.
This is a smart line voicemail, but it doesn't have any sound associated with it.
Oh.
Let me go back. To...
They put their phone on mute.
I guess. Hang on.
Oh, don't whistle.
Oh, sorry.
I'll just slap you. It's another one of those. It's like chewing gum with your mouth open. Whistling. I hate whistling.
Arkansas, says AJ Rundle. Arkansas. Or Sassy says Oregon.
You guys are getting these jokes way better than we are. Arizona.
Well, Sturmworm, I challenge you because what you said, I wonder if you feel the same way after hearing my solve. Tell us your solve, and then everybody can tell you what they think about it.
Yeah.
Or give us a call. Call me at 866-597-9901.
But tell us, where Warm Waters Halt is this spot here.
Right.
We don't want.
And then we can start.
Oh, fluffy clouds are in the air, and then they fly over, and then there's dew on the grass. Then that's where Warm Waters Halt. That doesn't mean anything.
If you want me to go look for the treasure on your behalf, and your Warm Waters Halt are Fenn's tears, I'm not going to go look for the treasure. Thank you.
All right, Sternworm, would you like to be on the Rooster roster? Because apparently you know exactly where the treasure is. You're going to get it next week. I can add you to the June Rooster roster.
Yeah. So we're going to add you to Arkansas. Let's see. Toby Fan 3000 says, he's talking to Guy Ward. Sorry. Robert Guy, you must first start with your imagination. Read the poem 10 times. Whoa. I think we've heard that before.
Under a shad tree.
Shelley, Carney. Mitzi's pushing the arc thing. Okay, so no phone calls coming in. I think we can end the show early tonight.
Oh.
We can go do so. Oops, spoke too soon.
Somebody heard you.
Hey, you've reached Toby and Shelley. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your observation? Who is this?
I gotta tell this piece of tape off. Fucking see my fucking thing.
Oh, naughty boy. Yeah. That would have been an interesting call, I suppose, if I could have understood anything that you were saying.
Other than the few curse words that came
hang
out.
on. Let me make sure it's not the same Jim Oak. Hey, you've reached Toby and Shelley. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your observation?
I'm Chris from Bayville, Colorado.
What part of Colorado are you from, Chris?
Bayfield?
Bayfield.
Oh. So
Bayfield. It's near Durango.
Mayfield.
Mayfield or Bayfield?
Bay, like Bayfield.
Bay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, Bayfield. All right. So what's your call about?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out the significance of the elevations. I mean, I know he's trying to keep us in a safe area, but do you think the elevations have anything significant to offer us?
You mean
I guess?
the 5,000 and the 10,200?
Correct.
So Santa Fe is at 7,000 feet. Albuquerque is 5,800 feet. It was the further north you go, the altitude goes up until you're in the Rocky Mountains. Most of the 14ers in the Rocky Mountains are in Colorado. I don't believe there are any 14ers and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, in Wyoming, and I don't know if there are in Montana. I don't think, so the 5,000 feet is irrelevant because all of the Rocky Mountains is above 5,000 feet. 10,200 feet is a nice neutral number because it actually doesn't tell you anything. It gives you a good base. Most of the, depending on where you are, how far north you are, the tree lines are 1,000 feet either side of 10,000 feet. So you're above the tree line at that point in a lot of cases. And so I think it's not in Idaho or Utah. It doesn't help you get closer to the treasure. If you did a GIS based datum map of the Rocky Mountains, most of the Rocky Mountains would be above 5,000 and below 10,200 feet. So I think it's we actually gave this a name. It's not counterintelligence. It's just not actionable intelligence. What do you do with it? You know, when you find out that it's below 10,200 feet, would that surprise you?
Do you think that all the clues are within that realm as well, or do you think the clues could be different elevations?
I certainly don't believe the clues range from below 5,000 feet to above 10,200 feet. I don't feel like the set of clues. I would say if someone were to ask me, well, you just did. I think the clues are all relatively the same in elevation, give or take a couple hundred feet. I don't think there's thousands of feet difference between clue 1 and clue 9. I also don't think there's 10 miles between clue 1 and clue 9. I think it's less than 1,000 feet. And if you're in the mountains and you move less than 1,000 feet along a stream, you're not going to climb more than if you're going canyon down, you're not going to lose more than a couple hundred feet in altitude. If that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's all I had.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. You have a good evening.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
You too.
So we had a question. Where did I see it? Oh, Heidi H. What are your thoughts on Carson National Forest?
Well, Heidi, it's where we're searching, right? So if you look at the Rio de los Pinos, as it comes down from Colorado and into New Mexico, it starts in the Rio Grande National Forest in Colorado and flows down into the Carson National Forest in New Mexico. So we like it a lot. It's very fenny up there. Plus, there's lots of animal life. It's interesting. It's a beautiful stream. It's in a beautiful area, and it's isolated. There's not a lot of people up there. It's underdeveloped. There are no they call improvements. There's no campsites. There's no porta potties. There's no rangers. I mean, there's forest rangers, but you see them relatively rarely. And it's kind of a cool place right below Osher train station. So it's kind of neat to be there. It's sassy.
Everyone knows it's sassy.
Everyone knows it's sassy. Hey, Sassy, you've reached Toby and Shelley. I'm not going to ask you. You can talk about whatever you want. Go ahead.
Oh, you're breaking up. This is Sassy.
Oh, it's not my fault. I have perfect connection here.
We hear you.
We hear you.
Okay.
Perfectly. We hear you real good.
Okay, that's good. I just wanted to maybe explain some of the puzzles in the David Blaine hunt so that people can understand about what a confirmer is, how there is confirmation.
Are you doing this? Are
On
you
the train tracks?
are you doing this? Where are you? What's ringing in the background?
The train.
That's right.
Are you making that up? You're making that up.
It's about 8 blocks away, but I guess you can hear
Okay.
it.
All right. All right.
My
So,
window's broke.
okay, go ahead. Tell us about confirmers.
Okay, so here's an example. On every chapter where it started, on every page, there was a little lizard, like a little, chameleon-looking lizard, and they were spotted. And the spots on the back were actually dots and dashes. They were Morse code. So if you started at chapter 1 and went to the end of the book and wrote down all the dots and dashes, it spelled out a sentence. Okay?
I'm listening.
So obviously, if you're doing dots and dashes, if you're able to spell something out from it, you've solved it. If you're able to get a complete sentence out of it, you've solved it. Another one was there were numbers there was a picture of like a big glass skyscraper building, and there were numbers in the windows. And the numbers were equal to the letters of the alphabet, and it spelled out something. It spelled out another sentence. So when you went through the whole book, you ended up with like 26 sentences. And then obviously, if you're doing different kinds of codes or ciphers or replacement or whatever, if you're able to spell out a sentence, you've solved it. Otherwise, you just have gibberish and you didn't solve it. So once you had all the sentences, then half of the sentences told you what to do to the other sentences. So some of them referred to a thing called mock your mate. And a mock your mate was a word like root, where you could have ROUTE or you could have ROOT.
A homonym.
And it would tell you to eliminate all the words that rhymed with that. So you would remove poot and toot and moot and you would remove those from the sentences. And so once you removed them all, you came down to, I think it was 15, 18 words. Then there was one more step. And when I came in, they were still trying to work out the elimination process. They were still trying to figure out which words to remove. And then that got solved about a month into when I was working on it. And everybody was just working on it together and sharing. Then the very last step was there was a number that looked like a phone number on the back of the book. And it was looked like a 323 area code, but it was 323 dot, and then 3 more numbers, and then 4 numbers. Well, there were seven words that had to be removed, or 7 sentences that you had to finish removing how many words. And those numbers corresponded to how many words needed to be left in each sentence in order to get the final thing, which said it was in Laurel Canyon, on an estate in Laurel Canyon. So you had to, once though you had all those words, you had to anagram each line in order to get the correct solve. And so that's you either come up with something that makes words or you don't. So it was pretty easy to figure out, okay, when I anagram all this, it makes sense. It says, Laurel Canyon. And since we all knew that the house that he'd filmed that one DVD in was on Laurel Canyon, it made sense that this might actually mean something. So that's why it was easy to confirm, because, with Morse code, your dots and dashes either make words or they don't.
Right. Well, dots and dashes make letters, but it's a combination of dots and dashes that make words.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So let me ask you a couple of questions. How long was it between the time that David Blaine announced his treasure hunt, I'm not sure, and released the book, to the time that you found the treasure?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
I worked on it for 2 months.
And it was the last, apparently. Go ahead.
The first half were all of the Morse code and all the things in the windows and all the Vignere ciphers and all that stuff. That first half was completed in the first year. And everybody had just been working on the second half with all the sentences, trying to figure out what to do with them in the year after that.
But the success that was achieved,
I
want to make sure I understand this right, but the success that was achieved in that first year was put into the public domain. So everyone who was searching for the treasure, participating, knew that there had been success achieved to that extent. Is that correct?
Yes, and nobody believed that the guy who posted it and said, look, I can't work on this anymore. This is what I've got. And he posted it. Nobody believed that it was true. And finally, the puzzle maker, Cliff Johnson, got in the forums and said, it's right. So you guys go from there.
All right. So in your experience, based on that, and I've probably said this on your behalf more than once, but I want to hear you say it. What's different about the Fenn treasure hunt?
You can't, you don't have any way to make those clues into words, into a sentence, into a location. You don't have any way to physically, there's no anagramming. He's already said there's no ciphers. We have to use with just what's there to figure out a location. Unfortunately, it's so vague, it could be any location,
Yeah.
You can make a location fit that poem.
Right, which is what most of us do.
So with Morse code, you know that you figured out dot, dash, dot, dash, you've figured out letters. And those letters spell something. Then you've got a sentence.
Alpha,
we don't
dot,
have
did
any...
Bravo. I know these. I learned them in Belgium. So
I know.
So let's go back to the idea that the community had confirmations that gave it a sense that it was making progress, because that's what the confirmation does, right? The confirmations suggest that you're making progress and all that, especially when you come out and the guy who wrote the puzzle says, "Hey, you're getting close," right? None of this is.
Yeah, that's about all the confirmation you get.
Yeah, but
somebody's close.
Or you're on the right track. We don't know any of that, right? We don't know if we're on the right track. We don't know if we're making progress. We have no kind of confirmation from the puzzle maker that we're making headway in all of this.
None.
Yeah.
If he had said, yes, there's a cipher in there, and, Mike Cowling applied his wheel or whatever and came up with a sentence that said, it's located, in Colorado and, something state park, or, you know what I mean? If somebody was able to apply some kind of cipher to that poem and come up with a sentence, any sentence, even if it was wrong, then there might be some kind of confirmation. Ooh, that spelled something. Let's apply other ciphers and see if we can get it to, say something else. It would give you a direction to go. But as it is, you just have to use your imagination, that in doing so, that opens the door to so many locations that you can literally make that apply to any place in any one of the states.
So we still have debates over what the first clue is, and some of us can agree. And if you were to take all the people in the room, all the people in the community who believed that begin at where warm waters halt is the first clue, and you were to ask them, what does that represent to you? And the response is based on what they imagine it to be, there is not going to be any consensus. So we don't have any way to validate that, right? We don't have any way to validate whether or not any of us have the role. We can only say it. No, my warm water salt is right. No, my warm water salt is right. There's no sense that there's a way to confirm.
And that's why Susie and I, when we were on the on Cal Laser's Senathon, we were trying to get people to look trying to break people of the poem purist, state of mind and get them to look at different things in the book that might be hints to a location. Now, one of the locations that I did, I showed 12 points circling my area that are all mentioned in the book.
Uh-huh.
Well, 12, I actually have 28. That's a lot to have in one area. But there's also a location in Yellowstone that has about 18 of them. So even then, even when I think I'm, really onto something, I realize that there's other places that have a lot of these things, except for none of them have Touch Me Not, but
Yeah. So let's do this. We're going on 12 minutes here. So what I'm going to ask that you do is you continue to think about this whole concept of how can we help each other, because it's not like any help is going to get you straight to the treasure, but how could we help? So the next time we have a conversation, I want you to think, how could we help figure out as a group where warm waters halt? How do we do that? So, and then we'll have a conversation about that. Don't answer it now. Just think about it.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And then just call in one of these Wednesday or Friday nights and we'll have a conversation about it.
Okay.
Okay? Thanks for calling in tonight.
Sounds good.
We always appreciate your calls.
You're welcome.
You have a good evening.
Okay. You too. Bye-bye.
So I think there's a certain amount of benefit to the fact that she's done this for that treasure, and she brings that experience. And I think it's got to be frustrating for somebody who had the experience.
Plus the fact that she's been in this treasure hunt since it started.
Yeah.
She heard about it from a friend who lived in New Mexico and had the book, and they
just never did anything about it until recently.
Early days. Yeah.
So it's just interesting to hear the experiences that she had and the confirmations. I mean, I guess we could go back to the book and start looking for some of those patterns someplace and see if there's anything in there. But he doesn't tell you that. He says it's all in the poem.
Yeah, and he also says you don't need any special knowledge of ciphers or codes or anything like that.
Yeah. Did Alpha. Did Bravo. Did Charlie.
Diddy Bopper.
How did you know that? Oh, never mind.
Because I heard your stories a few times.
Sorry about Diddy Boppers. 05 Charlie, Diddy Boppers.
All right.
Funniest people on earth.
So, confirmers. Do you guys think there's any confirmers for where warm water halts or anything in the poem? Because, we keep hearing you're not going to know until you have the treasure in your hands if you were right about it. So what kind of confirmers would there be? Would there be hints in the book that confirm ideas of where to start?
Where to start? Yeah. Just where to start.
What else is there? I mean, everything is an opinion at this point, right? There is no absolute. Is there?
No, none that we're aware of. That's kind of why we're not searching.
It's all how deep is the hole, and not far but too far to walk, and end is ever drawing nigh. There's a lot of uncertainty and non-confirmable stuff in there. What is the sound of one hand clapping kind of stuff?
So Michael J. Forney says there is a way to get confirmation. You just haven't cracked the code. We don't know anyone that has, Michael. And Fenn says there is no code, no cipher, and things like that. If you can tell me how to get the confirmation with the more nebulous, you just haven't cracked the code, tell me how to get confirmation, because I haven't figured it out. And nor to the best of my knowledge is anybody else. How do you get confirmation?
What does confirmers mean? It means something that tells you you're absolutely on the right track. You're in the right place. Mm-hmm. Like the 200-foot searcher, for instance, didn't know they were within 200 feet of the treasure, even though they were. They had the right clues. They had solved the first 2 clues and didn't even know it. There was no confirmation to them that they were in the right place, and then they walked right past the other 7 clues and missed the treasure, according to Fenn.
I think Hooli wants a wrench.
Hooli wants a wrench. Mm-hmm. She just got here. She's late. You don't get no wrench when you're late. So that's what a confirmer would be, Jens, is something that tells you are on the right track. Hey, you know what? I was within 200 feet of the treasure, and I know that I was, and here's why. Here's what I saw that tells me that. That's a confirmer.
Michael, again, I'll go. I think the confirm is smaller. It first, for example, solve the first or second stanza together as one. Yeah, yes, that's the obvious thing to do. That's not a confirmer. That's do the work. What you don't know is if you've gone through all the trouble of putting those two stanzas together and come to some conclusion about how they are solved, there's no confirmation of that. You're still in the same boat everybody else is. You don't know if you're right. And you don't know if you're right until you actually put boots on the ground and track through those first two stanzas to see if you get any closer to what is possible. The confirmer would be is if you had envisioned what the first clue was, the second clue, third, fourth clue, fourth clue was, and you went out, boots on the ground, and you were able to say, oh, so warm water salt is here, and that's the canyon down. Oh, look, there's the Homa Brown. And you're going to go out in the field if you haven't been already. I'm going to assume that, and you're going to find out that it just doesn't work that way. There's just this is all in Fenn's head. He knows exactly what he means and wrote a poem, and in the hopes that we could kind of read into his head exactly that. And none of us have, to the best of my knowledge, to the best of my uncertain knowledge.
Yeah, that's what the story of the 200-foot searcher tells me, is that there's no way that you're going to know that you are anywhere near the treasure until you actually have the treasure.
And think about it, when you think about it, think about how sad that story is.
Yeah.
You were within, Forrest Fenn knows you were within 200 feet of the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea you were within 200 feet of the treasure. Because if I had been told, if somebody had said to me, I think you're within 200 feet of the treasure, I would have sold maybe my grandchildren. No, I would have sold it.
But it keeps you going for sure. I mean, if you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not anywhere near where I should be, and somebody tells you, oh, actually, you're 200 feet away from the treasure right there where you're at. I'm going to tear up this whole area for the next 5 years until I find it. If
any one of us who has been boots on the ground could have been within 200 feet, maybe even 50 feet, maybe even 10 feet of the treasure. But we don't know. We have no idea of that. And the only way we'd get any idea is if we wrote Fenn and we told him specifically and perhaps even sent him a picture everywhere, and he had the courtesy to write you back, which he's not going to do. He's not going to tell you that you were there.
Right. We have posted pictures of where we've been, but we've been how many different places? So if that's what we've done, what have other searchers done? Maybe they've gone 10, 20 different places and posted pictures and emailed Forrest, and here's where I was, and here's the pictures of it. And he's like, oh, very nice. Knowing all along that one of those 15 places you had been, you were within 200 feet of the treasure.
So Hooley says, funny, but hundreds probably think they've been within 200 feet of the treasure. I'm sure, just like everybody well, not everybody, but a lot of people think they're the lead searcher. And the reason is there's no way to validate it.
There's no confirm that you were or you weren't.
Right. We had two calls on Wednesday, both from people who had stories about having gone to find the treasure and it had been removed by someone else. They weren't talking about the same
and
location.
There was no confirmation of that either.
How could the treasure be in two different? How could they be so certain? Because one of them at least one of them in this case, has to be wrong, right? You can't have two treasures in two different locations and come to the conclusion that you're second place in all this. And that's true. My definition of warm water salt is different from your definition of warm water salt, and you don't have any more validation that you're correct than I do. We're stuck in this weird place.
Louis Aponte wants to know if we want to interview the finder. We absolutely would love to interview the finder if they would like to do that. We could even do it in a way that would keep their identity unknown if that's something that they chose to do as well.
And we could interview them in a place that is neutral, not our place, not their place, which is neutral. Yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, I would, of course, try to get as much information from them that I possibly could, but at the same time, I wouldn't ask them to do anything that I wouldn't do if I found the treasure.
All right. So we have exhausted that for the evening. I think, should we shut her down?
I think we will. Okay. Oh, wait, there's a call me.
Oh, we got a call me.
Let's see. Oh, it's Jen's. All right. It's
Oh.
Jen's. Let's see.
Well,
what he's
let's
got
call
here.
Jens. Jens, you still awake? I think he's in California, so should be awake.
Hallo? Warte mal ganz kurz. Jo.
Hey,
Hello.
Jens. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Toby, thank you for your call.
I'm glad that
Very
we
happy to
could.
hear from you.
So, what are your
Thanks
thoughts
to
on this
put off
matter of
my,
the Fenn
I-
treasure hunt?
The reason why I'm texted you, so we talked about confirmers, okay? And there's one confirmer in my opinion, so it says too far to walk, okay? And I want just to talk about this, not to go on too many things.
Mhm.
In his book, Too Far to Walk, he clearly says in the preface that everything which is too far for him as an 80-year-old, okay, is too far to walk. So, I mean, if you look his footage from 2010, 2011, I mean, he can hardly walk, you know what I mean? So to me, that says it can't be further away from any structure like a dirt road than, let's say, 1,000 or 2,000 feet. And especially if there's some kind of elevation and having such a heavy backpack with 20 pounds on the back. Also, and it must be something very significant. If he says nobody goes there by accident, also, sorry, that must be a confirmer in my opinion. At least solve for the clue too far to walk. Otherwise, we make here everything way too difficult. And he says simplicity. Didn't he mention that? Think more simple. Simplicity is the key, and imagination.
So, which of those, because I'm not sure, which of those do you believe are confirmers that you are close? And I'm just going to use you, right? That you're close to, that you're on track to find the treasure. What do you find in the way of confirmers?
I'm not sure to understand that question, but I have no idea where the treasure is. And I have also not found where warm water sold. I'm still debating.
Yeah.
But I know for sure that it can't be too far in the wilderness or somewhere. There must be something like a dirt road or some place where you can go with a car or with a truck. He said that more or less.
Yeah.
And it must be close. So you can actually disregard everything that's further away than, let's say, I don't know, 1 mile from a structure, like a dirt road. He can't go further. I mean, he can barely walk.
Yeah.
Look at his footage. That's what I'm saying. Isn't that a confirmer for too far to walk, that this kind of makes it more pointable, but easier to find? I mean, there's people who are dying in the wilderness because they're so far out.
Away from this. Yeah, I think we have a tendency. I think we tend to agree with you that it is not a great distance.
Okay.
And if you've been out on boots on the ground, you can get off what I would call the beaten path, the one that is most commonly driven by folks. Get off that beaten path, take back roads, and eventually you can take just tracks to a place where you can park. That's how it looks at the Rio de los Pinos, and you can tell that's a rarely trafficked location. And then if you go 1,000 feet from there are plenty of places to hide a treasure. So once we had spent any kind of time, boots on the ground, then the conclusion we came to is that he wouldn't have walked more than, say, 1,000 feet from where he parked his car, and where he parked.
Tony.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. There was a delay. Go ahead.
And what I was going to say is, and he parked his car in a place that is not easily accessible, but accessible, right? He said to take the Texan with the redneck Texan with a pickup truck, throw everything in the back, including his 12 kids, and go look for the treasure. Well, that tells me it is accessible, at least, that you don't have to have an ATV or a any kind of all-terrain vehicle to get to the point where you can walk, right? Just drive up in your car.
Just one more thing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned that many times. He said that a searcher or searchers have been as close as 200 feet. And he said also that people have been as close as 500 feet. And you mentioned this term people is kind of weird. So he not, I mean, the people who would text him, or emailed, or sent him pictures, probably only a very few, those, they let him know where they were. But if he says people don't write him. That means it must be as close as 500 feet to a structure.
Right.
Like
well,
a trail
exactly.
or vista point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always made a distinction.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, exactly, because we believe the same way. He has always made a distinction between searchers who have been within 200 feet, and that's a frustrating term anyway, because within 200 feet could mean 50 feet, right? They were within 200 feet. If he had said there were searchers that were between 200 and 250 feet, that would have been easier to tolerate as far as I'm concerned. But he's always made a distinction between searchers and people. So one of the things that we look for is where within 500 feet of this search area could people who are not searching for this treasure have traveled. And that's where, like I said this afternoon, we actually did a video. We made a video of the geometry of that distinction. How could a searcher be within 200 feet and people be within 500 feet? What does that look like in terms of geometry on the ground? So, yeah, we agree with you. We think the people were not, that the distinction he makes in calling them, quote, people, unquote, means that they are not, quote, searchers, unquote. We think he makes that distinction intentionally.
Yeah. Is that a confirmer?
I think, I guess he could say that comfortably. You know, I think he could say, and he has said more than once, that searchers have been within he knows that searchers have been within 200 feet. And I haven't heard the people have been within 500 feet as often as he says searchers have been within 200 feet, but he has said that. And so to me, that has always been an indication, a hint. I don't know necessarily if it was a confirmer, but if I was in a location like the Rio de los Pinos and I was down in the canyon and I could look around me and find that commonly traveled 500-foot mark, as we do with the one of the things that keeps us in the Rio de los Pinos is that train. It's 500 feet up that canyon. And there's people there, but they're not looking for the treasure. They're not interested. They probably, for the most part, don't have any idea that it's there. I mean, even the people that...
if it is there.
If it is there. The people at Osher Station that work at Osher Station, the people that work for the trains and work for the cafeteria there, they were all oblivious to the idea that there was a treasure down in that canyon. Except for one woman. What was her name?
I don't remember now.
Tammy?
I don't remember now.
Oh.
It's been too long.
Yeah. So there was a woman that worked in there.
And I didn't actually meet her. You did.
Yeah. And we were headed down the canyon. We decided to stop to go to the gentleman's room. And as I was going by, I didn't know where it was. I'd never been to the gentleman's room there at Osher Station. And I asked this very attractive blonde woman, I said, "Excuse me, where's the gentleman's room?" And she said, "It's over there, Toby." And she knew me. And of course, she knew me from A Gypsy's Kiss. And we started talking. And she and her two children used to apply for work at Osher Station just so they could be close to their treasure search area. So, but they were the only ones in that area that we knew. And we met plenty of people. We met plenty of people in that area at Osher Station who had gone there to go to Osher Station. We'd ask them about the treasure. They didn't have any idea what we're talking about.
Yo, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling in, Jens. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Toby. Thank you. Bye-bye, Shelley. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now. Good luck with your search.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Let's see. So I'm going to turn the phone
Ken
line.
Blythe says, he stated people who were within 200 feet solved the first two clues. Can we assume they were searchers with reference to the two clues, or is he assuming? I think he knows because they wrote to him where they went and why they went there.
Yeah, you wouldn't, if you were a person traveling in a train 500 feet away, and you don't know anything about the searcher, about the treasure, you're not going to write him. But if you're a searcher, you're going to write him. You're going to tell him where you were and send pictures and hopefully get some kind of confirmation. I think that's why everybody writes him, is they're hoping he'll write back and say, yes, you are on track. But he said,
if only.
And we talked about that this afternoon, searchers had figured out the first 2 clues and then walked right past the treasure, or right past the other 7, something like that. But they were searchers, and they told him that's the only way he could know it, right? Is that they told him he doesn't otherwise know. But he says people have been within 500 feet because people who are riding the train or driving by at that main road in Yellowstone,
and that's an assumption
where it is.
too. He may not have meant that. We don't know exactly what he meant.
We're
just
we
guessing.
Don't know. Riddle for the room. I am Sofa King. We Todd did. Okay. Oh, we Todded. Maybe that was the guy who called earlier.
Yeah, he was saying bad words and you just read them out loud.
I did?
Yes, don't do it again.
Oh.
My goodness sakes. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, I worked for an airline and I was at the ticket counter and we could make announcements over the speakers, right? And we had a guy there who I worked with, and he was a friend of mine, and I was trying to contact him in the airport because he had walked away and he was halfway through the airport and I needed him to be back at his desk. So I paged him.
What was his name?
And then I got in trouble from the airport
authorities.
Well, not the authorities, but the information desk that did all that paging. They got mad at me, and I'm like, but he's a real guy. That is his name, Mike Huntley.
That's just like the movie, except there was
that
no
was
Lee in
his
it.
name.
Wow.
That was his real name on his driver's license.
Read this again so I understand it.
No, don't say it out loud though. Okay. Snipe hunting. Everybody in the room is snipe hunting. And, bison in Carson National Forest. Yeah, that's why they have the Buffalo Thunder casino up there.
Let's see. This is from 989 No Name. I think all the clues possibly point to a painting or something of his. Once you find that, it will lead you right to the treasure. Only you would know, and that's exactly why nobody has stumbled upon it. Then he says, he or she says, if they had no idea they were there, then it doesn't matter that searchers have been that close. Shoot, he was probably with them, and they had no idea. Huh. A little metaphysical there, huh? All right, phone lines are closed, and we are getting close to
Jen says,
closing time.
Some weeks ago I had a flight from LA to Seattle. On this flight, I realized how big the search area is, and since then, I am out.
That's kind of where you end up, no?
That's why we only limit ourselves to, near Santa Fe.
Is Mark Connor out?
I don't know.
Yeah, he is a June. So Mark's a June treasure hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where he might be. Maybe he's up there. We haven't heard from Mark Connor. Because I guarantee you if he was here, he would have said something, right? That's ASMR.
Yeah, that is ASMR whispering.
And
thanks everybody for being here tonight to celebrate with us our 5,000 subscribers.
Still 5,000.
And we appreciate all your questions and comments, phone calls, texts, and emails. Keep them coming our way, and we will be back again next week to share those with you. And for Gypsy's Kiss, I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Younis. Do me a favor. We have 297 responses on the survey. If you haven't responded to that survey, please do so, because I'm going to count 300 as a credible survey. Thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you next Wednesday.
And the link to the survey is in the description box.
Right. Link to the survey is in the description box below. So thanks for joining us tonight.